The very first warrior to fall following 9/11 was a master sergeant named David Evanders. He died on 10/10/2001, only a little over a month after 9/11. Since then, 6,862 warriors, as recently as 2 weeks ago, have fallen since 9/11. The reason why I know this number so specifically is because I have made it my responsibility to know the names of every single warrior who's died since 9/11. Not only have I made it my responsibility to know these names, but every year at an event called Mindful Memorial Day, myself and volunteers from all over the country gather at the Women's Memorial at Arlington National Cemetery to hang a yellow ribbon for every single individual service member who has died since 9/11. Like I said, that number is 6,862. Now, by the time Memorial Day 2017 rolls around, that number may have changed. Starting in 2014, when we began to honor each and every single warrior, we did so with what was called a mindful moment of gratitude. In an exchange between a volunteer and a visitor to the memorial, two people who didn't know anything else about each other than a shared respect for sacrifice, connected to each other over the name and over appreciation for the sacrifice of a fallen warrior. That little connection, that little moment, we call a mindful moment of gratitude. That moment has the power to transcend separation. Doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter who you are. Respecting the fallen, honoring them, honoring their sacrifice with gratitude is sacred because it's something we all can connect to. Out of this sacred ground has come a new number. This new number is the number 878. Where does the number 878 come from? In Mindful Memorial Day 2016, we conducted an outreach program called an honor visit. During an honor visit, one of our volunteers would go to a grave site in Arlington National Cemetery on behalf of a loved one who couldn't be there and offer a mindful moment of gratitude for their sacrifice on that loved one's behalf. In Mindful Memorial Day 2016, we did 20. Inside that experience, a mother and a son named Benji, reached out to us after doing 6 honor visits and said, "This honor visit changed our lives. We have no relationship to the military, but being able to do this for our fellow countrymen, honor their loved ones with a mindful moment of gratitude, has changed us completely. We'll never forget our first honor visit." After we heard this expression of authenticity and appreciation for what we had helped create, we were blown away. But what made us even more amazed was what the woman and her son offered after. They asked us if we knew how many post-9/11 fallen warriors were buried at Arlington. We said no, and that list didn't exist, and that the only way to find it was to take the list of 6,800 and at the time 52 names and cross-check those names with the Arlington Cemetery database. A huge task. This woman and her son took it on, and 1 month later they came back with all the information and told us that of the 6,852 post-9/11 fallen warriors, 878 are buried in Arlington Cemetery. So what that means is that there are 878 warriors buried in Arlington. And what it means for us is that we, members of the Mindful Memorial Day community, have taken it upon ourselves to go to each and every one of those 878 sites and pay that fallen warrior an individual mindful moment of gratitude. So, what does that mean for you, and why am I presenting this to you? What that means for you is that we need your help. We need 878 volunteers to meet at the Women's Memorial on May 27th, 2017, to go on individual honor visits to the 878 post-9/11 fallen warriors that are buried there. To recruit these volunteers, to recruit you, we are reaching out in two directions. The first direction is to the warrior community. These are active duty military, veterans, veteran service organizations, all the way down to the hard chargers who study CrossFit. And then we're also reaching out to you by reaching out to the healer communities, the therapists, the mindful meditation teachers, the yoga instructors, the healers of our community. Our hope is that by recruiting from each side of the warrior-healer spectrum, we will create a mix of warriors and healers around something that they both recognize as sacred, and through this connection, we'll create an opportunity for these two seemingly separate sides of the equation to come together. Our hope is that through this process, these groups of people forming this, what we're calling the Honor Brigade, will begin to see that the warrior community and the civilian community or the healer community has very much in common. And through the initial beginning common ground piece of mindfully honoring the fallen, these two communities can start to share more conversation with each other. Maybe a warrior will see how a yoga practice or a Reiki practitioner can help them. Maybe a healer will recognize that their passion lies in serving a warrior through offering mindful meditation classes. We don't know, nor do we have to know. We just know that the sacrifices of our fallen warriors are our responsibility. It's our responsibility to interact with those warriors and their memories and their families and their communities. It's our responsibility to honor them at the very least once a year. And it is through this sacred practice that we all can come together. What I've just described to you is the Bridge Project. The goal is to bring healers and warriors together around the sacred responsibility of honoring the fallen. When it's all said and done, 878 of us will meet under the ribbons of Mindful Memorial Day on May 27, 2017, where we will all sit in a mass mindful moment of gratitude. Following this mass mindful moment of gratitude, we will move out together into Arlington, and each one of us will be assigned a specific one of the 878 sites, where we will all proceed to each to our individual site, and there we will individually offer a mindful moment of gratitude for every service member, every post-9/11 service member that's buried in Arlington. It's a sacred responsibility. If you're ready to take on this responsibility, if you'd like to participate in the Honor Brigade and be a part of the Bridge Project, go to www.mindfulmemorialday.org. Sign up to be a member of the Honor Brigade. Their sacrifice truly is our responsibility.